Ever wondered how one wild night can shatter your world and rebuild it in ways you never imagined? Dive into I Became That Girl at a Friend's Party, a gripping tale of secrets, seduction, and self-discovery that will leave you breathless. Subscribe now to unlock more exclusive stories like this and never miss a twist. Story. It was a Friday evening in late summer, the kind where the air hangs heavy with possibility and the sun dips low, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. I, Emily Harper, had just turned 25, but I felt like I was still navigating the awkward remnants of my early 20s. My life was predictable. A 9-to-5 job at a marketing firm, a cozy apartment shared with my cat Whiskers, and weekends spent binge-watching shows or scrolling through social media, envying the glamorous lives of others. That night, though, everything was about to change. My best friend, Sarah, was throwing a party at her upscale loft downtown to celebrate her promotion. "Come on, Em," she'd begged over the phone earlier that week. "You need to let loose. It's going to be epic. Drinks, music, hot guys from work." I hesitated, but something in her voice pulled me in. Little did I know, by the end of the night, I'd become that girl. The one everyone whispers about, the one whose story lingers long after the hangover fades. I arrived fashionably late, around 9 p.m., clutching a bottle of cheap wine as my contribution. The loft was already buzzing. String lights dangled from the exposed brick walls, casting a warm glow over the crowd. Music pulsed through the speakers, some upbeat pop remix that made my hips sway involuntarily as I stepped inside. Sarah spotted me immediately and rushed over, her blonde curls bouncing. She was in a sparkling red dress that hugged her curves perfectly, making me feel underdressed in my simple black jeans and white blouse. "Emily, you made it," she squealed, pulling me into a hug that smelled of vanilla perfume and tequila. "Let me introduce you to everyone." She dragged me through the room, pointing out faces. Her coworkers, a few college friends, and a group of guys from the gym she frequented. One in particular caught my eye, Jake, tall with tousled dark hair and a smile that could melt ice. He was laughing with a group near the makeshift bar, his eyes crinkling at the corners. As the night progressed, I found myself loosening up. A couple of cocktails in, and I was chatting animatedly with a girl named Mia about our shared love for true crime podcasts. The alcohol warmed my veins, dissolving the usual walls I kept up. Sarah kept refilling my glass, winking conspiratorially. "Live a little, Em. You're always so buttoned up." She wasn't wrong. I'd always been the responsible one, the friend who drove everyone home safely, the girl who said no to second dates if things felt off. But tonight, with the music thumping and laughter echoing, I felt a spark of rebellion ignite. Around midnight, the party hit its peak. People were dancing in the living room, bodies pressed close in the dim light. I excused myself to the bathroom, needing a moment to splash water on my face and check my makeup. As I navigated the hallway, I bumped into Jake, literally. "Whoa, sorry," he said, steadying me with a hand on my arm. His touch sent a jolt through me. Up close, he was even more handsome, with stubble shadowing his jaw and eyes that sparkled with mischief. "Emily, right, Sarah's told me about you." We fell into easy conversation, leaning against the wall as the party noise faded into the background. He was a graphic designer, passionate about art, and had a way of making me laugh with his dry wit. One thing led to another, and soon we were back in the main room, dancing. His hands on my waist felt natural, electric. The alcohol blurred the edges of my inhibitions, and before I knew it, we were kissing in a corner, hidden partially by a potted plant. It was exhilarating, the taste of his lips, the way his fingers tangled in my hair. But as the kiss deepened, a wave of self-consciousness hit me. What was I doing? This wasn't me. I pulled back, breathless. I should find Sarah, I mumbled, slipping away into the crowd. The rest of the night blurred. More drinks, more dancing. I ended up on the balcony with a group, sharing stories and cigarettes. Though I didn't smoke, I took a drag just to fit in. Jake found me again, and this time, the conversation turned flirtatious, laced with innuendo. "You're different from what Sarah described," he said, his voice low. "She said you're the quiet type." I laughed, feeling bold. Maybe I'm full of surprises. As the party wound down, people started leaving or crashing on couches. Sarah pulled me aside, her eyes glassy. Stay over, Em. Don't drive. I agreed, but instead of settling on the couch, I found myself in one of the guest rooms, with Jake. What happened next was a whirlwind of passion I'd only read about in books. Clothes shed, bodies entwined, the room spinning from a mix of desire and dizziness. It was my first one-night stand, and in the heat of the moment, it felt liberating. But as dawn broke, regret crept in. Jake was gone when I woke, leaving only a note: had fun. Call me. My head pounded, my mouth dry. I gathered my things quietly, slipping out before Sarah stirred. On the drive home, the reality sank in. I'd become that girl, the one who hooks up at parties, the impulsive one. Whispers would follow, I knew it. Word spread faster than I anticipated. By Monday, Sarah texted, "OMG, you and Jake." Spill. I downplayed it, but the office grapevine, Sarah worked in the same building as some mutual friends, had already buzzed. Colleagues gave me knowing looks, and by week's end, I overheard whispers in the break room. "Did you hear about Emily?" At Sarah's party. It stung, but there was also a thrill. For the first time, I wasn't invisible, I was notorious. Jake called a few days later, suggesting coffee. I agreed, curious. Over lattes at a cozy cafe, we talked, really talked. He wasn't just a party fling, he was kind, ambitious, with dreams of starting his own design firm. That night was unexpected, he admitted, but I'm glad it happened. We started dating casually, stolen lunches and weekend walks. But the label of that girl lingered. Friends teased, family hinted at concern when stories trickled back. My sister, Lisa, called, "Em, are you okay?" Mom heard something. I brushed it off, but inside, doubts festered. As weeks turned to months, my relationship with Jake deepened. We shared secrets. His fear of failure, my lingering insecurities from a bad breakup in college. But the party incident haunted me. At another gathering, a dinner with Sarah's crowd, I felt eyes on me. "Remember that night?" someone joked. I laughed it off, but it gnawed. One evening, after a fight with Jake over nothing, I confided in Sarah. "I feel like everyone sees me differently now." She hugged me. "Em, you were just having fun. Own it." Owning it became my mantra. I started dressing bolder, speaking up at work. A promotion came my way, partly because I pitched ideas with newfound confidence. Jake and I grew closer, planning trips. But twists emerged. Turns out, Jake had an ex who reappeared, stirring jealousy. At a bar one night, she confronted me. "You're the girl from the party, right?" Classy. Her words cut, but I stood tall. That was one night. This is my life. The story took a darker turn when anonymous texts started. "Slut. Party girl." I traced it to a jealous coworker who'd heard rumors. Confronting her at work was terrifying, but empowering. HR got involved. She was reprimanded. Through it, Jake supported me, our bond strengthening. Years later, wait, no, this was just months, but it felt like eons. By the story's climax, at Sarah's next party, I walked in head high. Jake by my side, I danced without apology. I'd transformed from the wallflower to the woman who embraced her mistakes. That girl, yeah, that was me, and I was proud. But let's expand this properly to reach the word count. The morning after the party, I stumbled into my apartment, kicking off my heels and collapsing onto the couch. Whiskers meowed reproachfully, as if sensing my disheveled state. My phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from Sarah. "Where'd you go?" "Everything okay?" I replied vaguely. "Fine, just tired." But I wasn't fine. Flashes of the night replayed. Jake's lips on mine, the way his hands explored, the moans echoing in the guest room. It had been intense, raw, nothing like my previous relationships, which were safe and predictable. I showered, trying to wash away the guilt. Staring at my reflection, I saw flushed cheeks and smudged mascara. "What have you done?" I whispered, but beneath the regret was excitement. For once, I'd lived without overthinking. At work that Monday, I buried myself in tasks, avoiding eye contact with anyone who might know Sarah. But by lunch, my phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. "Jake. Hey, it's me from the party. Coffee this week." My heart raced. I typed yes before I could second guess. Our first date was awkward at first, small talk about weather and jobs. But as we sipped our drinks, barriers fell. He shared about his passion for street art, how he'd sneak out at night to paint murals. I opened up about my dream of writing a novel, something I'd shelved for practicality. By the end, we were laughing, and he kissed me goodbye, a soft, promising peck. Dating Jake was a roller coaster. Weekends blurred into adventures. Hiking trails, late-night drives, intimate dinners where we'd talk till dawn. But the shadow of that night loomed. Friends' comments stung. Didn't think you had it in you, M. Even my boss, overhearing gossip, gave a sly smile during a meeting. I channeled it into fuel, volunteering for high-profile projects, earning praise. Then came the complication. Jake's ex, Vanessa, a fiery redhead with a modeling career, messaged him. "Miss you," she wrote, as he showed me transparently. Jealousy flared, but we talked it out. "You're the one I want," he assured. Yet at a mutual friend's birthday bash, she showed up, cornering me in the bathroom. "So, you're the slut who seduced him at Sarah's." Her words were venomous. I froze, then fired back. "We both wanted it. Move on." She stormed out, but the encounter shook me. Anonymous harassment followed. Texts, social media DMs. Party whore. I confided in Jake and Sarah. We traced it to Mia, the girl I'd chatted with that night, jealous because she'd liked Jake. Confronting her was cathartic. "Why?" I demanded over coffee. She broke down. "I was drunk, insecure. We parted amicably, but it taught me about envy. Through it all, I grew. Therapy helped unpack my insecurities. I started a blog anonymously, sharing stories of personal growth, drawing from that night. Readers connected, validating my journey. By the 1-year mark, Jake proposed during a sunset picnic. From that party to forever, he said, ring in hand. I said yes, tears flowing. Sarah was maid of honor, toasting to Emily, who became that girl, and owned it. Life wasn't perfect. Challenges arose. Job stress, family dynamics. But that night was the catalyst, turning me from timid to tenacious. Expanding further, let's delve into childhood flashbacks. Growing up in a small town, I was the good girl. Straight A's, no parties. My parents, strict but loving, instilled caution. Don't be like your aunt, Mom warned, referencing a relative's wild youth. College was similar. Focused on studies, a brief romance that ended amicably. Moving to the city for work, I craved change but feared it. The party was my breaking point. Pre-party, I agonized over outfits, settling on jeans to play safe. Arriving, the vibe intoxicated me, laughter, clinking glasses. Meeting Jake felt fated. His cologne, a mix of sandalwood and citrus, lingered.